Yo, yo, what's up, brother?
Hey, happy 1 year, man.
Happy 1 year, right? We got some exciting stuff coming up in year 2. We're really happy to announce that that we are just signed an ambassadorship program with Schedulicity. Schedulicity is a scheduling app, and they've been kind enough to help us out this next year.
Yeah, we met them in LA when we did the Salon Digital Summit, and they really believed in what we were doing and how we were doing it, and so they wanted to know how they can partner up with us to even reach more listeners and give what we give.
That's right. So with our partnership with Schedulicity, we will be able to reach more hairdressers, and we'll be able to bring a lot more content and get to a lot more hair shows. So hopefully we can see you guys out there in the hair shows when we're there visiting.
Yeah, and they're going to give us some business tips throughout the podcast as well. And I'm so excited that, we're partnering up with people that believe in the same things we believe in.
Yeah, no doubt. That's pretty exciting. So anyway, Schedulicity, once again, big shout out to you, and
thank you for joining
your day off. Silly. Hey, welcome to your day off. My name is Corey, and of course I'm sitting with my bud Tony. What's up, Tony?
What's up, homie?
Another 10 minutes with Tim today.
Yeah, and we all know Summit. All these years, they've helped so many salons. Now with this big merge of independent stylists, they've been working on for a suite, right, and see if it's for you, right. So Tim today he's going to talk about is it for me? Is the suite for you?
Right. So as an independent stylist, what do you have to do? What do you have to think about, to prepare, for said life, right?
Exactly.
Cool. Let's get right in. You ready?
Awesome. Yeah.
Mr. Tim Fisk, welcome.
Hey guys,
welcome to Tim. Welcome, buddy. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Hey, I'm doing well. I've been working with Summit on a lot of cool stuff for independent stylists that's coming down the pike, and
I kind of want to slow down. We're not going to just breeze past this, Mr. Fisk. You guys have been in the salon world forever, and I got to be honest, I never thought I would see that you guys would come tiptoeing by the independent stylist. Congratulations on that. I'm really excited for you guys, because you guys are the epitome of the business of our industry.
Well, yeah, thank you for that. And, here's the thing. Summit Salon Business Center has had a decades-long legacy of supporting the independent salon owner. And when we're talking about suite stylists, independent stylists, I want to be clear, these are salon owners, and they are staff of one. But when we have our conversation today about whether or not a suite's for you, I want to talk to your listeners as business owners, because that's what they are.
Boom. I love that.
That's preaching there. That's the truth.
It's 100% the truth. Let's get in, sir. Let's make a business, not a hobby.
That's right. If you treat your business like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby.
Booyah.
So how does one go and start off by finding if the suite is for them?
Yeah, so things to think about.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people in our industry that will have a lot of opinions about this. I'm just going to give you mine. I think the first thing you really need to have an honest conversation with yourself about is, as a stylist, are you earning enough per month to support a viable generative business for yourself in a salon suite? So what is the minimum that you should be earning before you can seriously consider taking on that small business for yourself?
So let me ask you this. So when we did a great podcast with your buddy, Peter Mahoney, and he gave us some stats, you had to be, I forget what it was, but if your rent was like $4,000 a month, you have to do $80,000 out of a salon in order to be profitable. I think that was his number, something close to that. So do you have numbers like that for a suite owner? And even if I'm paying $4,000 a month, is it still $80,000 that I have to do monthly as an individual?
Yeah, no, I think, it's totally different numbers, right? So these are very different for independent stylists, because the expenses aren't as robust, but they are there. And so we want to consider Somewhere around 10 to 12%, maybe even up to 15%, is what we want the rent to end up at, right? So if you can do the backwards math on that. I think that we're looking at somewhere between 8 and 12,000 per month in total sales. I mean, if it was me, if it was my kid, or if it was somebody I was mentoring, I would say, get to $10,000 a month, and then you can afford your suite and all of the things that you need to grow a legitimate business in a salon suite. And some people might be like, hold on there. I make less than that and I feel like I'm successful. But I would challenge that and say, do you have a retirement plan that's funded by the work that you do in your suite? Do you have a vacation fund? Are you paying your taxes? These are things that sometimes take a back seat because independent stylists are touching a lot of money. And there's a difference between touching a lot of money and making a lot of money.
Ooh, boy, is that a truth bomb right there, man, right?
Sure is.
Okay, so by your mouth by your mouth and your math, both, Tim, by your mouth and your math, at $10,000, we're at about a $300 a week rent, right?
Exactly, and that I think is healthy, and I think at that point we can start to break out our different bank accounts. Remember, you're going to have a separate bank account for your business, a separate bank account for your life. Don't mix the two, right? All those credit card transactions need to go into a separate business account, and you're going to pay yourself out of that account to pay your mortgage, to pay for the kids' soccer, to pay for groceries, or a night out and martinis, right? So,
Right.
And then we're ready to do that. And we're ready to have then a legitimate retirement fund. We're ready to have a vacation fund. And I can go on and on about vacation funds and our industry and how our vacations tend to cost us more because we don't actually plan for them and we lose income while we're on vacation. It's different than somebody who works in a bank. They get paid vacation and they're making the same amount of money whether they worked or they didn't. But
I think that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, it's a
isn't it?
whole other podcast. So are we planning for it and does our business support that?
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, and you're 100% right. You got me thinking, before I left to become an independent suite owner, at the salon, I got 3 weeks of, paid vacation. So you go on vacation, you don't have to worry about because that you're still getting paid. But as a suite owner, you're right. You're not getting paid, and it's costing you for your vacation. So it's costing you a whole lot more.
Right. It's not just lost income; it's negative income.
It's called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is like if you missed out on $2,000 of income and you didn't have a plan for making that same goal for the month, even though you took a week off, your vacation didn't cost $2,000; it cost $4,000. Right? So how do we have a plan to mitigate that opportunity cost, and how can we save to help subsidize that?
That's awesome. Like I said, that's whole nother podcast. I think we need to get focused in. Okay, so give us some numbers, give us some things to think about for the some more things to think about before we open an independent salon.
Yeah, I want to I just want to bring up the conversation of retail. I mean, you guys have heard me go on and on about retail, right? Because I just think it's such an important missing link in a lot of the corners of our industry. I think as a salon suite business, you have to have a plan for getting products in the hands of your guests so they can do their hair in between visits, which means you've got to be ready to invest in an opening order on retail. You have to.
That's a big.
Yeah, it's a big one, and you have to have a plan for restocking those shelves. You have to have budget guidelines for that. So, you can't just and I've actually been working with independent stylists now, piloting some new training programs, and one of the things that emerged is well, what do I have on my shelves? What am I doing? So let me give you a tip on this, right? I believe that you should just focus on your top 10 SKUs. So the top 10 products that you like to use with your guests, those are the things that you should start as an opening order in your suite. You don't have to buy
back up. But a lot of companies require you to at least invest in the whole line on your initial buy. So is there a workaround there, or what are your thoughts, Tim?
I mean,
If we're being honest, if we're having an honest conversation.
yeah, let's be honest. So I think that there are so many amazing brands out there. As you know, Summit Salon Business Center works with L'Oreal Professional Products Division. We have to be honest with our brand partners as to whether or not they're prepared to support independent stylists. And sometimes that doesn't mean buying into a $10,000. I mean, if you bought into some lines, the opening order could be $6,000 to $10,000. But we're not going to do that in a salon suite. That doesn't make business sense. So we need to find a brand partner who's willing to work with us and where we're at in our business so that we can have an opening order that's a little more in line with what we're going to actually accomplish in a suite.
Love that. Love that a lot, actually. I mean, again, Tony and I were both in a suite. So, these are challenges that we've had, in the past. The other challenge that I've had, and I don't know if this is right for this conversation or not, but also like, a lot of companies, and I don't know where L'Oreal fits on this, but we just don't sell enough retail to even supply our back bar. So to your point, that's another expense that we have to make. Right. Like we're just not moving enough product because you have to move a lot of product to get your back bar for free. So, what are your thoughts on that, Tim?
That's right. And, I think all the brand partners are starting to catch up and catch on to this. And some of them are leading the charge of developing programs that fit more with the independent stylist model. But a lot of them don't have a back bar program that fits that model. So you're going to have to be buying your back bar. And this kind of ties into even your color purchase as well. So, you have to be prepared to stock inventory of color. What I had run into working with these independent stylists is many of them are telling me stories about how they are looking at their book for the next day or two, seeing what guests are coming in, double checking on their formulas and knowing what they usually get, and then going to a bricks and mortar store and buying that color for that particular appointment that's coming up in the next day or two. Where that
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on. So here's the truth. So I don't do it anymore, but when I first started, that was my first month. That was my first month in business, and it was just like, do I have enough color for X client? And eventually after a month, you kind of catch up, but that first month was crazy. And I was just looking through like, what's his formula? And then at the same time, you're praying like, I hope I don't get a new client in this spot because I don't know if I'm going to have the color for him. So there was that anxiety of it as well.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, here's the thing too. So you're doing that, and some people are just that's their day-to-day in a suite, right? But here's the problem with that. So let's say, I'm picking up color for Kathy because I know that Kathy is, she just loves her auburn hair and she's totally into it. And we've been doing it for the last couple of years. And Kathy comes in the next day, sits down in the chair and says, I want to be blonde. And you didn't get any of the supplies to make her blonde. So what's your answer for Kathy? Oh, I can't do that today, right? We have to be ready to meet our guests when they're inspired. We have to actually encourage them to try new things, and we're never going to be able to serve our guests in the right way if we don't have on hand the supplies that we need to have these kind of creative conversations with them.
Exactly.
So you have to be prepared with inventory, both retail and back bar and color. And I think that requires a good relationship with a rep or two, or however many. I would say less is better because who wants to keep all of those balls in the air, but with a rep that really understands your needs and can work with you. And there are some great ones out there who are definitely ready and willing to work with independent stylists in suites. But lean on them. They're going to help.
Yeah, we've definitely, through the relationships that we have, there's definitely some companies that are better using their salon suite partners, with different distributors and stuff. And then some of them we just never see.
Yeah.
Right. So. And
I guess the last kind of thing that piece of advice that I want to give to people who are considering going in this route in a suite salon is you have to create a brand for yourself, and it requires work. You hear me talk about social media all the time, Instagram, how Instagram is like it's a default website, especially for independent stylists and individual brands. But it does have to at some point go a little bit beyond just Instagram and Facebook. We have to consider how we're searchable on Google. What is our Google footprint? Does our salon software that we're using have any kind of branding in it? You have to create a brand, because here's the thing. Independent stylists make up 55% of the market now. So the competition is fierce, and there might be many people in your building. So you want to be standing out. And so in order to do that, you're going to have to put some calories into developing a real brand that exists a little bit beyond just Instagram.
Wow.
Boom.
Is that percentage, that 55%, is that relatively new because of this new surge, especially on the East Coast? Because I know California or the West Coast was doing independent stylists for a while, at least for the DC area. It seems it's over the last, maybe 5+ years, it's relatively new. Is that?
Yeah, that's data coming out of 2017. So yeah, I mean, it's been growing and growing. I mean, this is why, we have to respond to this, and we have to provide, I think, for me, myself, for SSBC, it's really important that we serve these business owners, these small business owners of one.
And I'm also curious too, is that 55%, Tim, is that, because I've heard that number twice. So I've heard 55% of our industry is there, meaning like licenses, but I've also heard that 55% of the money is also is there as well. So I guess the question is 55% of the money, is that where that number's coming from? Or is it 55% of working licensed hairstylists?
I think it's 55% of the money.
Okay. So even if it's 20% of licensed hairstylists, they're still bringing in 55% of the income.
Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I just don't.
All right. Cool. Fair enough. 55% is still 55%.
Yep.
Regardless, right? That's awesome. So I kind of want to like half step backwards. So like,
that's moonwalking, homie. Let me see
that. Let me see the moonwalk, bro. Let me see the moonwalk. Thank you, Tim. What are some just really super quick pointers about that brand development outside of Instagram? Do you have just a couple that you can pop out?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I integrated into the new independent stylist curriculum that we're developing at Summit is this idea of a brand promise. So like, I want you to sit down and really think about what it is about your work and working with your guests that you love and that brings meaning to you. And I want you to get that down on paper. That's going to be kind of like the beginnings of a brand promise. And, we work on that one-on-one with people, but also, I mean, I think that there's other ways that you can just kind of sit on a rock and think about it yourself and pull it together. And then how do we take that brand promise? If it's something like, I promise to teach my guests how to look great in between visits. I promise to explain to you every product I use and why. I promise to have a consultation with my guests to make sure that we're getting exactly what they want out of every visit every time. Things like that you're gonna write down. I promise to use only the best professional products and services. Once we get all that down on paper, now we can like kind of articulate through the about sections of things like Google My Business platform, a Facebook business page, who we actually are and what is our point of difference.
That is mind-blowing. I love that. Once again, Tim delivers with the knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty simple. And like you said, you can sit on a rock and kind of figure that out. It's who are you and where do you stand? It's almost like a mission statement in a weird kind of way, right?
Exactly.
It's your own.
It's exactly a mission statement. That's exactly right. I think it's important for people to do that in general. Why? It's your why. It's finding out your why. That's Peter Mahoney would say, what is your why?
And as a business owner, you should have that, whether it's a staff of one.
Exactly. It's really important. So yeah, I think the brand promise is something that's really great. And, we use that brand promise kind of later on in training with self-employed stylists, with the independent stylists, and particularly in suites, when we look at things like price increases. So you can't charge the same forever, right? You have to come to a price increase at some point. Now, we teach people to do that based on demand of time, but how do we articulate that to our guest? You can lean on the brand promise to do that by saying, like, my prices are going to change based on the cost of delivering the best products and services to you, and based on the demand on my time. So once we've got really clear with our guests about something like a brand promise, we can lean on that brand promise when it's time to do something like raise prices.
Boom. Love that. Tim, another thing that I recommend for people when they, because once you're in a suite, then you always have people asking, like, how does a suite life work? And one of the things that I recommend is that to do a price increase when you open your doors. And my philosophy on that is, one, your expenses go up, so you're going to need that backwards money, and two, those that are following you are your biggest fans anyways.
That's right.
What are your thoughts?
That's right.
And you're allowed to call me stupid.
Nope. I 100% agree. I mean, I haven't started talking to you guys about all this stuff that we're doing at Summit, but you're touching on a lot of these points. We do. I'm recommending to suite stylists that they do what's called like a market adjustment. Let's look at the market. Let's look at the annual household income of where you are, and let's use some math to figure out how we do a price adjustment right out of the gate. This is the time to make that happen. And not only that, but what we're going to figure out is what your next 3 price increases look like as well, and when you're going to get them.
Wow. I like that, man. That's really cool.
Yeah. I'm just teasing it out. Like, I'm excited to, these are other, I feel like we're talking about like future 10 minutes with Tim's here, which is great.
We have a big list.
I know, right? We definitely have a big list. Tim, this is awesome. So let's be the first to say it. I mean, Summit's going to get aggressive when it comes to the independent stylist. So how does, when somebody wants Tim's advice, Tim's services, or Summit's advice or services as an independent stylist, how do they get in touch with you, or what's the best way to reach you?
The best way to do it is just go summitsalon.com and click on the services button. That's where you're going to see a page for independent stylists where you can go, and there's going to be all kinds of different tools for you, some free, some classes, some webinars, and also the opportunity to do custom coaching for your business. So
that's awesome. So talking secrets now, how aggressive is Summit going to get with the independent stylist?
I think that we're going to respond to whatever the demand is for this type of training. We're here and we're listening. And so, as people start to tell us what they need, we're going to respond.
Boom. Once again, Tim, thank you very much for dropping the knowledge, dropping the bombs, and joining us here on your day off.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thanks so much.
Hey, so there it is. Hey, this is a message that we've been trying to bring, I don't know, for the last couple months, actually since we started the podcast. Hey, so if you like the podcast or if you find that it's useful, please leave us a review, a 5-star review on iTunes. Leave us a rating and a review.
But if you don't like it, forget about it.
Yeah, totally forget about this message. We also want to thank Sarah and Blaine from Pretty Gritty. Sarah and Blaine, they are a band out of Portland, Oregon, and we just want to thank them very much for allowing us to use their song, Pleased to Meet You, on our podcast. That's cool. I think you can find their music on iTunes.
Peace and hair grease.